Oh, hi there. I'm Kat. Thank you for joining me for Chat with Kat. We're going on a journey and having conversations with people from a variety of backgrounds and experiences. And during this journey, we're going to probably laugh and smile. We'll have moments of compassion and cry. We may be angry or feel confronted, and we may be amazed and just need to ponder. So, whatever the emotion is that comes up, let's take a moment to breathe and ask ourselves why we're feeling this. And also, let's ask, what can I learn from this? So go ahead and like, share, subscribe to this, and make sure that your friends and family and colleagues and anyone you feel could get something from this gets to see this. So let's get on with our journey with Chat with Kat.
Hi, Emmy. I'm so glad to see you. Thank you for joining me here tonight. I know we know each other through our self-perfected group, but a lot of people probably don't know who you are. So take a minute, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here. Thanks for having me. I am Eme Shiraki. I was born and raised in Buena Vista, Virginia, a very small little town in the southwest of Virginia, Shenandoah Valley. I love it. It's beautiful, mountainous, um, and very small. And I'm also the youngest of 8 children. So big family growing up. And then now I live in Roanoke and I am married to Julius Lee, who has done a chat with Kat before. Um, and we have a beautiful daughter named Penelope. And yeah, I am a person who loves to cook. I love being a mom. Um, it's so interesting looking at my life now and like seeing how the group has affected me because it's like looking back 6 years ago, like during COVID and everything. If you had told me I would be married in 6 years and have a baby and live in Roanoke, Virginia, I would have laughed in your face. I've been like, first of all, Roanoke, gross. But that's just because I love Buena Vista. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Yeah.
Okay, well, great. So what got you on this journey here? I mean, what got you into self-perfected? What got you kind of on that pathway?
Julius, actually. I let's see. We met in like spring of 2021 and then we hit it off and we started dating. And then we got married, and then about a month after, he got techno tutor. And at first, I was kind of like, okay, that's cool, sure. If you think it's doing something, that's awesome. And then in the summer of 2022, we went to the one of the first TT events, and I got to know the people, and I got to have some conversations with them, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, these are my people." Like these are people who actually talk about real stuff and really want to make a change in the world. And they're entertaining. They have fun, and a lot of the values that I was raised with, they have the same values as well. And
Hmm.
so I already kind of gravitated towards that, like being in a, in a nice hotel at a conference, like you kind of have this image of like, oh, there's going to be alcohol and there's going to be, people, I don't know, like there's just like this image in your head. And when
Hmm.
I went, it was nothing like that at all. Like there were kids running around, everybody was having a blast, and there was like no alcohol or anything. And so I was like, wow, this is really, really cool and really, really different than what I thought it was going to be. And ever since then, I was like, I'm on board. Like, I am here. I am ready and willing to learn and listen and, make a change in the world. So, yeah.
Wow. Well, great. And I'm glad you went to the event then and got on board. But so, I mean, what did life look like for you, before you started with the group and before you started doing the work?
I was very apathetic about life.
Mm.
So after high school, I graduated in 2019, and the end of that journey ended in kind of heartbreak. I was a little bit boy crazy in high school, as you are, and there was this boy that I had liked for a long time. And then at the end of the school year, at the end of senior year, he was like, "Yeah, I'll date you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And then the next day was like, "No, I actually don't want to date you." And that like broke my heart.
Oh.
And yeah, and so going into COVID, I was depressed. I was like, so like I already kind of had this mindset of like, I don't care, like whatever, like kind of like that high school attitude, like nothing can touch me, like whatever, I don't care. But then it got even worse with COVID because everything just shut down, and I had moved away from my small little town to move in with my parents again because they had just moved to Utah the year before. And so then I was like, well, I feel like I'm suffocating in this tiny little town. So I'm going to move with you guys. I'm just going to go free rent, And then I just stayed inside for a whole year and just watched Netflix basically. And I just was very driven by my emotions and my, like, whatever I saw on my social media feed and Netflix basically. And yeah, I was just like, I just kind of had lost that spark for life. Like, I was just like, if I die, who cares? Like, I don't really care. So yeah, I would say very apathetic about life before meeting Julius and getting into this group.
So, I mean, I know you a little bit, and you're certainly not apathetic now.
That is
so. So, what was the changing moment for you?
Well, obviously, there was something in me that wasn't like I knew that I wanted to do more with my life. I just didn't know how to do it. Like, I didn't know how to get there. And a lot of the people around me also didn't really know what they were doing because I was like 20 and you're like just out of high school, and like, which technically I guess 18 is just out of high school, but like 20, you still feel like a kid. And you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. Like, how am I going to go on? Like, how am I going to change the world in all of its terribleness? Right. And so, like, meeting Julius, like, he challenged me on a lot of my beliefs that I had just kind of accepted. Like, I was just like, yeah, this is just how the world is. And then he came in and challenged a lot of those things while also still being very respectful of me and like very caring. Like, it wasn't mean. It wasn't mean spirited the way that he did it. And I was shocked. I was like, a guy who actually challenges me and I like to talk to him and he's funny, but he also doesn't give off bad vibes, basically, So that was a big game changer. But then there was one point where we had moved to Florida after we got married, and this was after he'd been using TT for a little bit. And we were having an argument, and we were in the car, and I was like, I was shut down. Like, it had gotten to that point where I was just like, I'm so angry. I'm gonna cry, and I don't want to cry. So I'm just gonna stop talking. Like, I'm just not gonna talk. Like, and just sit there and be angry, you know? And usually he would get upset with me, and he'd be like, why are you talking? Like, I can't help if you're not talking. Like, what is going on? Like, I can't, why aren't you talking? Basically, just being also angry at me and not knowing how to support me, right? And this time, instead of going into that, he stopped. And before, like, he's told me that he had this thought in his head that he was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. Like, whatever. She's not listening. Like, I can't get through to her. And then he was like, wait a second. Hold on. I just put something like this through TT about my mom, where, you know, she would just leave. What if I try not leaving this time and just being? And so he stayed, and that surprised me. I was like, you stayed? And I didn't say that. I was still angry, but it was still like enough to make me like, what are you doing? You know? And he was like, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be here with you in this. And we're just going to be here. We can sit in silence for as long as it takes, but I'm not going to leave. And then after a little bit of silence, and at this point, I'm pretty sure I was angry, crying, but still not talking. He said, why don't you just try and tell me in one word how you're feeling? Just one word. Like, that's not that big. Like, that's not too big to do. It's just one word, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, it is just one word. And I think I said, like, I was upset. But that moment where he changed the program that we had been running for the first 5-6 months of our relationship, where he stopped and considered me, that was the moment where I was like, oh, change is possible. And also, I know that my decision to stay with this guy was the right one. So, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing that just one little moment like that can have such an effect on how you view everything, right? So, I mean, what does it look like now for you guys? Because, I mean, that was a little while ago.
Yeah, that was 5 years ago, almost 5 years, which is kind of crazy that we've been married for 5 years. Before Julius, my longest relationship was like 3 months. So yeah, it looks a lot more like talking. I don't shut down as often. And we're able to have this flow of conversation that never happened before. Like, even when we were angry or when we're upset, like, there's never that point where we're like, we're just going to give up on the other person. It's like, I'm in this with you. I'm never going to give up on you. So we're going to figure this out, and we're going to communicate about this. And sometimes that looks like, you know, being like, hey, we need to come back to this. Or sometimes that looks like, you know, working together on a list. Sometimes that looks like me putting all the words and back chat into TT and then him doing it later. Or sometimes it looks like supporting each other to go and reach out to others to support with this specific point. Because sometimes, you know, when you're in a relationship, sometimes you're too close to it And so that's what's so great about Self-Perfected and Techno Tutor, is that there's this whole group, this whole network of people that you can reach out to for literally anything. Like, I know that if, like, me and Julius, we want to eventually get land and have a house and have animals and stuff. And so I know that I have so many resources within the community to ask about that and be like, hey, what is the real stuff that I need to know? So I'm not going into this being like, la, 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 chickens, saving money. You know, because it's like, having chickens, you are likely not saving money because everything wants to eat chickens. That's just how it is. But yeah, just communication is a lot more open and a lot more free and a lot more fun. We're not so stuck in that same rut of like, I say something, it triggers him. He says something back after reacting, and then I'm triggered, and then we're just going back and forth and da 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 da, you know? And, you know, it does still pop up, like, because we go through loops through process, especially if you don't fully close the loop, if you don't really get in deep to the core, to the root, like, it's probably going to pop up again. But since you're doing this process, you're going to be able to see the difference the next time. Like, the next time, it's going to be better. So yeah, that's really the difference that I see. Just that we're not giving up on each other, and we're walking through all of the time loops together.
Wow. You know what? I really love how both of you are doing this together, and that you're supporting each other and acknowledging, like, hey, you know what? Like, it's not perfect once you start doing the work, right? Like, there's still problems, but we now have like tools and resources to like navigate this a little bit better, maybe, and maybe not hit the same pitfalls the same way, right? So I love that you're being honest about it, because you know, I think some people might have the ideas like, well, once I do this thing, it's like everything's wonderful and there's no problems.
Yeah. That's the cool thing about process, is that it's not, well, and also just about the group, that it's not, the people are going to be real with you. You know, they're not going to bullshit you about stuff. They're going to be like, hey, this is real life. Like, this is going to come up again, but now you're better prepared to handle it. And so the next time it comes up, that's your chance to see for yourself, like, have I actually changed this point within me? Have I actually transcended that point? And if you haven't, that's okay. Like, there's no judgment. That's another cool thing, is that, like, talking to people and getting support is like, there's no judgment there. And if there is, they're going to go work on that. You know, like, everybody is working on themselves. And I think that's what's so different to, you know, regular society, is that so often regular society is like focused on me, 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 me. And within Self-Perfected and Techno Tutor, there's a lot more emphasis on like, but what can you do? What are you doing for yourself? How are you changing? So
yeah. And that's so important to know that, you know, we all are human, and we all have our things we're working on and always will. But you're right, like the lack of judgment based on whatever you're coming through or dealing with, right? Because I think for me, I mean, one of the biggest reasons I did the work, but I did surface level for a lot of years, right? Is because I think also I was so afraid of failing, but I was also so afraid of judgment, because that's what I constantly got in my own life, right? Was being judged and criticized for things. So it was always like, well, I have to have this kind of image of this person, right? But it is true, like, the people here really are genuine, and they care, and they'll hold you to it, like you said, but they're gonna be in such a different area, that you don't feel the judgment from people. You just feel like someone's actually caring about me and helping me being better.
Exactly. Literally. Hit the nail on the head.
That took me a long time to really discover with this group, I'll tell you. I had a few walls I had to kind
Me
of
too.
work through.
Me too.
So, I mean, Penelope is growing up in this world where she doesn't know anything different. She's growing up with these kids, using the tools with people who are learning how to communicate with each other and work things out. And how is that different from what you experienced? Because you had a big family, right?
Yes. Very, very big. It's way different because when I was a kid specifically, and obviously it's different because, she'll be the oldest of the children and I'm the youngest. And so there's a bit of a different dynamic there, right? But specifically within a big family, there is a lot that slips through the cracks that, my parents, they did the best with what they were given and they were just doing what they knew best. And unfortunately, with 8 children, like there's a lot of chaos going on. So there's a lot that can be missed. There's so much attention that, I feel like my siblings feel like I got a lot more attention, but there was a lot of different, basically I had a lot of different parents because they all think of me as the baby and they're like, you're my baby. And I know you as this little being that, I had to boss around or I got annoyed at or, and I remember specifically, so my oldest sister is 18 years older than me. And so by the time I was, like she was already out of the house basically when I was born. And so there were a lot of points within me that I just was never explained. Like it was never explained to me how the world works. That when somebody turns 18, they move and they, they're growing into the adult. They are becoming their own person. They're separating themselves from the family unit. And that means that generally they leave. And that wasn't explained to me. And so to me, it just felt like, why are all my family members leaving? And why are they happy about it? Like, I'm sad. Like, why are you leaving me? I don't understand. And that's the key difference with my family and how I'm raising Penelope now is that I explain everything to her. That, I want to make sure that she understands the world around her and she knows that if she has any questions, like I'm going to be there to answer them. And if I don't know the answer, I probably know someone who does know the answer. And so we'll go talk to them. Like, if Penelope ever has a question about baby cows, I'm probably going to go talk to Katie. And, we'll have a voice call with them. And also the point of not controlling her, instead directing her. That I don't need to tell her, like, no, you can't be on the table. It's dangerous. Like, you're going to fall. And then, forcibly take her down. Instead, I can be like, wow, that was amazing that you climbed up there by yourself. Just be aware that there is an edge there and you are high up off the ground. And so if you stumble and you fall off, that's going to be a long way to the ground. I'm right here to support you, catch you if you fall. but just be aware of that, you know. And even she's 16 months now. Wait,
Mm-hmm.
what is today? The 9th? She'll be 16 months tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
And she already has this confidence of being able to do things herself,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to communicate with me. And, you know, she can't say like a whole bunch of words yet, but like she can definitely communicate to me what she wants. Like she can say the word fry, and I'm like, do you want me to make you some fries? And like she'll let me know when she wants me to pick her up. She'll let me know when, you know, her diaper is dirty. Um, she'll let me know when she wants to take a bath. So it's just like when you're really present with your kids, you're able to be so in tune with them that like you can communicate with even a kid who's under 2 years old. And I think another difference between how I was raised and how she was raised was, or how she is being raised, is that I have a support system already in place to support me with any anxiety or fear that I have. Whereas my mom did not have that as much. And I can definitely see how my programming, how I got programmed from my mom, still comes up. And it's a really big point for me is that I'm very afraid of things, specifically happening to her. And I can see where that came from my mom, that, you know, she had 8 kids, and you know, that's a lot of kids to worry about. You know. And you know, my dad was working, and so they made the decision for her to be a stay-at-home mom, and I'm very grateful for that. Like my upbringing was, you know, great. You know, like we always had food. We had a lot of fun. We sang a lot. You know, I got a lot of culture, musical theater and stuff. And you know, she raised me with really great values. And I'm forever grateful for that. And I don't blame her for any of the things that I got programmed with. I can just recognize that, you know, she was doing the best with what she had and what she was taught and programmed with. And now I can recognize that it's my responsibility to change what I see needs to be changed. So, yeah.
It's amazing that you can look at your family and one, be grateful, right, for the environment, even with all the kids and the family members and the change going on. But also that you can say, okay, here's things that I know I can work on and I'm still holding on to that maybe is not serving me or my family the best, right? So what's your relationship look like with all your siblings and your parents right now? Like, is it different because you started doing all this work?
It definitely is. So the way that my family is, they love philosophizing and talking about very deep subjects. And but there's also this point of like kind of like subtle judgment. That it's like if you say something wrong, then you're stupid. And if you know, like there's always this point of like one-upping each other. And but there's this very strong like, we are Shirakis. You know, like you're a Shiraki. And so there's that very tight family bond there. And when I had Penelope, I really had to face that point of seeing that I needed to step away from that. And I didn't know how to communicate to that. I didn't know how to communicate to them that concept very well. And so there were a lot of times that I would try and I would get triggered and I would get mad. And then I would just stop talking to them. And then, there were lots of ups and downs through my pregnancy. Like my brother died. And then I kind of had to like break the news to them that it was like, hey, I don't know that I really want you guys coming over while she's a newborn. And like they were understanding of the newborn point, but like as she got older, they were like, why can't we see her? Yeah, so as a newborn, they kind of understood that. And then as she got older, it was a little bit more like, well, why can't we come see her now? Like she's not a newborn anymore. And I was still very like cautious of like, I want to ensure that in her first 7 years that I am very intentional with who is around my baby. And I still had a lot of judgment and reactions towards them. And what I realized is that if I'm not stable, the person who is literally sustaining her with my body, then that's going to affect her. Like that's not best. And so I kind of had to, stop talking to them for a little bit because I was just like, I would get triggered so much, like every single time I would talk to them. And not through any fault of their own, like it's a baby. Like they want to see the baby. Babies are cute, but I just had to like take that step away and be like, I'm not going to be able to explain this right now. But basically, it was just that I needed to be stable for her, and I wasn't around them because they're my siblings. And, there's a lot of, triggers and points that come up and reactions when you're around your siblings. Like they know you best. Like they literally grew up with you. And in my case, many of them feel like they raised me. And so there's a lot of ideas in their heads of like who I am. And it was very frustrating for me to be like, but I'm not that person anymore. And what I realized was that because I hadn't walked through that judgment point of them, like I was still judging them. Anytime they did something that I'd be like, I used to do that. And like, that's not best. And, like I was still going through that loop in my head. Like, because I was doing that, I would never actually be able to support them or support Penelope when she goes through something similar because, she's half me. And so she got my programming. And so it's like, I need to let go of that judgment of them because I'm like, well, they're judging me, so I can do it to them. It's like, that doesn't make sense. Like when did that ever make anything better?
Right.
Never.
Right.
So yeah, this past Christmas and New Year's, I did a list on the word judgment, and I basically went into the definition of judgment and just put in
Mm-hmm.
all of the words that, you know, stuck out, and like I was like, I don't know what that word means. And so basically like, all the big words in the definition of judgment plus judgment. And so I just did a huge list before I went over for Christmas, and I was able to let go of that judgment and just be there and just
Mm.
genuinely enjoy being there, and also be
Mm.
aware of like where Penelope was and supporting her in whatever she needed and supporting others with whatever they needed, and you know, walking through scenarios that normally would have triggered the hell out of me.
Mm.
Like I normally would have been, you know, spiteful or snap back at somebody, or like just have a moment in myself of like, ugh, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And instead of doing any of that, I just had fun. And I just realized like I genuinely love these people, and they're amazing people, and they have so much potential, and I do want to be around them,
Mm-hmm.
but also recognizing that, you know, there's still a lot of work and nobody's perfect, and you know, they don't have the tools yet, and that's okay. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like I am just going to, you know, be like Jesus, be an example, you know? Like I don't need to, you know, philosophize to them about how great it is. It's like I need to live it first.
Mm.
I need to be a living example of the words that I'm saying,
Mm.
of the words that I'm telling them. And so it was like once I let go of that judgment, I was just able to see them for who they were
Mm-hmm.
and to support them where they're at and love them where they're at, and also know that they're great people and they have a lot of value to bring to the world.
Mm.
A lot of them are just stuck in survival mode, like a lot of society is right now. And I'm going to be
Mm.
honest, I go into survival mode a lot as well. I just have support, and I have people who have been where I am and are where I want
Mm-hmm.
to be. And so I can reach out to them and be like, I'm feeling this thing, or like, this thing is going on, please help. And they're like, okay, breathe, just breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's where we are right now. I talk to them every so often, you know. Um, my oldest sister, she lives in Buena Vista now, which is 45 minutes away from where I live, and
Mm-hmm.
her baby is older than Penelope. She was actually 4 months when I was like 5 or 6 months pregnant. Um, and we have a really sweet picture of Julius holding her as a baby. It was really cute. But so I'll go up there and get clothes from them that her youngest has grown out of. And so it's like, it's really great to let go of that judgment and just focus on building real relationships with them,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't want to go into judgment about who they are or what they're doing anymore.
Right.
And I just want to see them for who they are, and they're my sibling. They're with me for life, pretty much. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if I can create a relationship with them, I want to. So
Mm.
yeah. And with my parents.
Yeah. Wow, I mean, what a journey to go on, right? To realize like I have all these judgments about these people because I feel they judge me, to now like I can actually accept them and just, grow a relationship with them. And
Meet them where
that's
they're
a quite a journey, and meet them where they're at. Yeah. Yeah. And so what do they think about this whole, I mean, obviously they know that you and Julius are doing this work, right? What do they think?
Like some of them know about it more in depth than others, and some of them I don't know how much they know. I mean, I'm sure they've talked to each other, but like I said, like my thing is just that I just want to live the example. Like I'm not pushing anything. Like
Mm-hmm.
they can come to me if they have any questions, you know?
Right.
Because I've got answers.
Yeah. Yeah. It struck me when you were saying that they see you as who you were and not who you are now. It did strike me as that being a reality in my life too. It's like family relating to you like in a way that they always knew you as opposed to there's
Right.
something you have actually been able to change or grow, right? So I'm actually really curious. You said Penelope will be the oldest. Does that mean that you eventually want to have another child?
Yes. Yeah. I do want to have more children. Julius wants to beat my mom. He wants to have
No.
more than 8.
He
um,
does?
yeah, he does.
Oh boy.
Um, but also, he has also recently told me that he would also be fine with just having Penelope. So it's like, you know, he could go either way. Um, but I think that for the next couple years at least, we want to have another one, not super close in age to Penelope, but you know, within 7 years of each other. Also, I started, pretty early. I had her when I was, when was she born? 2020. I had her when I was 23.
Mhm.
Um, so who knows? Could be a lot. Could be not so much.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're thinking 2 every 7 years because that would be a good amount of time to be able to ensure that each child gets like the best support, and like I'm able to have like really good quality time with each child
Mhm.
and not, be off the walls with a bunch of children, you know?
Mhm.
Because yeah, it's a lot. There a lot of kids is a lot of kids. It's a lot of chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, oh. So what is it? I mean, you're now back in Virginia, right? Because you said you were in Florida for a while. So what made you guys move back?
Um, I was very isolated. I was not fully like participating in self-perfected or TT yet.
Mm.
And then I also just wasn't really finding people that I could really reliably feel like I could reach out to.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like I wasn't using the tool very much at this point, and so I was very much still in my own head. And
Mm.
so like I was still very judgy. And so I really loved the people that I met there. They're amazing people. Um, but I just didn't really connect as much as I would have liked to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Julius, don't remember exactly what happened with his job, but I something happened with his job. Um, and we just realized like together that like we weren't really going anywhere there, and I didn't really like it because I love mountains and winter and seasons, and so we made the decision to move back to Virginia because we would have, you know, kind of a soft landing place there because that's where my parents are. And so we moved in with them for a little bit. And again, it's so interesting looking back and seeing how far I've come because I used to butt heads with my mom a lot. And so moving in with her was a lot after getting married. And there were lots of butting heads, lots and lots of butting heads. I also butted heads with my grandmother a lot, my mom's mom, and because she was a strong Irish lady, you know, very strong opinions, very opinionated, and uh, you know how they say don't talk about politics around the dinner table?
Yeah.
Well, that did not apply to her. And so she was very opinionated on political stuff, and I was not very educated in a lot of that stuff at that time, and I also just reacted to her because I was like, you're old and you don't know anything anymore, you know? And so it's really interesting looking back and seeing how far I've come in understanding and being able to, you know, not be so quick to judge, you know, that everybody has, you know, certain sticking points and certain things that they're really passionate about. And, you know, they don't know what they don't know, you know? And I don't have to be the one all up in their face and say like you're wrong. You know, like that's not how you build a relationship. Is just saying you're wrong or judging somebody or, you know, going silent and just having it in your heart of like they're wrong. I don't like them. Or and just like developing this persona about them because really when you're having a conversation it's like you're just seeing likely maybe one or two facets of who they are, you know? So yeah, just seeing it's cool to go down memory lane and walk through those points and see the changes where I've been able to learn how to breathe before I just say something. You know, and again, just like utilizing the tool more to be able to reprogram those points of like that automatic program of going, you're wrong. And why I'm right, you know? And instead switching that expression to why do you think that? And actually genuinely being curious. Like I'm not wanting a gotcha moment. You know, like, well, why do you think that? You know, it's like genuinely, I want to understand why you think the way that you do so that I can talk to you about it and understand you and support you. So yeah, a lot softer of an expression. Yeah.
I understand. It's completely. I'm kind of in the same where it's like I'm now seeing different points on people and being able to maybe even have a bigger view of who they are and where they're coming from. Whereas before, I think my view was much more narrow because I only saw how they were being maybe in a certain way, right? So I think that's something that I've really grown with the last little while too. It's yeah, and being curious more, listening to, really being curious and wanting to hear what people have to say. And even if I don't agree with it, it's just like, I'm open now to hearing it better or in a different way than I was before. So
yeah, and it's a really great way to check within yourself and be like, if I don't agree with this, am I reacting to this? Like, it can be really cool to, go into a conversation and just be able to listen and note, like, where, like, oh, that word triggered me, or oh, what they're saying, what they're talking about, like the whole thing has this effect on me. I want to go investigate that now and see, like, why is this happening? Why is this affecting me in this way? And how can I, overcome that and be able to actually talk about this with an unbiased, unjudgmental, unburdened viewpoint of this thing that this person knows about or talks about, so yeah.
And what you just said there about having those conversations in like an unbiased way, it just made me realize how much we could really, help other people. I mean, I'm just thinking, like, what a difference it would make if we could actually have people learning this, a lot more, and having those conversations outside of our community, right, with each other and in society. It just really struck me when you said that. So
yeah, this is why building local is so important, and it's a goal of mine to build a local community here. I was just talking to my mom about this today, that I want to create a community here where, people and moms and families can come and gather and talk about different things and learn about different things from people who have so much different life experience and expertise, and really creating a space where people can share and network and become really, a community that we can grow together and we can support each other and we can have these conversations, these hard conversations, and go away knowing that our community is stronger because of our different life experiences.
Wow,
And
that's a
maybe getting
really great
challenged on some
vision.
stuff.
What a great vision, Eme. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, you're going to have to let us know as you start growing this community. Let us know about it so people can start like joining in, and because I'm sure there's a lot of people who want that, right? But they just haven't been able to express it, or they haven't felt there was anybody who really wanted the same thing as them.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody is looking for connection now. Everybody wants to be connected. Maybe they just don't know how, because it feels too much or it feels scary. Because I know for me, definitely growing up, social awkwardness and, doing things for myself was very scary. There were lots of times that I have this specific memory of being in the lunchroom and I really wanted to go get a drink from the drink machine, but I was so scared for some reason that I was like, hey, my friend, I was like, hey, can you go get me a drink? And she was like, why can't you go get it? And I was like, I'm scared. And so she went and got it for me. And so it's just like, I want to help others support themselves to be confident in any situation and to be able to stay stable in any situation, and, eventually be a support to other people. Yeah.
So, I mean, where you are right now, is it a small area, or is it a bit bigger than where you were growing up from?
It's a bit bigger. Roanoke is definitely more of a city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's got skyscrapers. And Buena Vista definitely does not. It has a college, but it does not have any high rises or anything. It's a very small community. I mean, I guess bigger than some, but my graduating class was like 99 people, kids. So
Yeah.
very small.
Yeah. Okay. So there's room for you to have growth and community then and build this vision where you are then.
Definitely. Yeah. And I definitely want to bring this as well to Buena Vista because they're starting to grow as well in their economy. And there's a lot of growth and there's a lot of college students specifically because there's a university there. And I see a lot of the college students really just falling in love with the area and really wanting to make it better. And my mom actually helped create the BV Arts Council, which puts on some events every year, and like, so there is a lot of potential there for some amazing growth. And I mean, it's just like the most gorgeous area ever, in my opinion. I love it, but I may be a little bit biased since I grew up there. But also I can recognize that like Roanoke is also beautiful and has a lot of potential. It also has a university. And yeah, there's just so much opportunity if you're willing to go out and find it. Anywhere, really.
I think that's important for people to remember too, is that there are opportunities if you go out and look for it, right? I think there's so much, we're so much in the world of we want it now, we want everything at our fingertips because we can like Uber and DoorDash and Amazon, all these things are at our fingertips and it feels like it's instantaneous, right? And I think we forget like there's this whole other world outside where there's opportunities, but you got to actually go to it. You have to go find it. You have to go ask people and talk to them and,
Exactly. Like it's so interesting that in just the past like 20 years, there's been such a shift to being more online and for more of that instant gratification point. And now, like, even people like my parents, it's almost like this point of they don't remember what it was like really to have that point of like really needing to go out and connect with other people. And I think a lot of people woke up during COVID about that it was like, wait a second, I want people. Like, I don't want to be isolated. I don't like being isolated. So I'm really hopeful for the future that there is more and more this turn towards we need in-person connection. And I am really ready to be able to, support that and figure out how to support that because I still have a lot to walk through as well within that whole social point. But yeah, I am really looking forward to building here what I always wanted, which is, just a group of people and community and like people that I can genuinely call my friends and know that they are genuinely there to support me.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And, it's interesting being down here in Mexico because the friendships I thought I had really shifted and relationships I had really shifted. And I really got to, understand like what's important and the qualities now in people. And really, honestly, I found out really who my friends are. So it's been an interesting, journey to come down here and have to go through this discovery. But yeah, I think it's talking about like who genuine friends are and who you can really count on. It shouldn't be such a rare thing, but it is. So I just, I'm shocked by it, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and when you look at society and like the things that we've accepted to like that people just like go along with, you can understand it, but it is still like sad and kind of shocking that it's like I don't want to settle anymore.
Mm.
I I remember how it felt to settle in high school and growing up, like settling all the time because I was the youngest and my wants weren't as noticed as many of my other siblings, especially in the early years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can just see that I want to create a world where every parent has the support that they need, that they are able to support their children to be able to create something in this world and not just settle for a job at McDonald's or
Mm-hmm.
just settle for, a high school degree. Really be able to contribute and be able to build something that they're proud of and that is going to last a long time and it's
Mm-hmm.
going to affect future generations.
Mm. Wow. That's really profound, Eme. Um, Thank you for sharing that because I know that's something really close to you, and I'm honored that you're sharing that right now. Oh, wow. So I want to ask you then, what does the future look like now with all of this now, with your vision of community? Really making a profound difference for people, having that support, that genuine relationships. What does it look like now for you?
I'm not settling anymore.
Well, that's
um,
good.
yeah, I mean, who wants to be a rock buried at the bottom of a stream? you know, don't want to settle to the bottom.
Mm,
I the next let's say the next 5 years, I really see myself and my family in a place where we have some land, and I can really start creating you know a spot there, like a safe haven, for people to come and gather and for my kids to grow up and understand the world around them and be a part of the world around them, being that they're growing a garden, they're caring for the animals that we have, uh, and that, I want to have another kid at that point.
mhm,
um, and really just supporting Penelope and my next child, um, to have the best start to life, the best education, the best support, the best, most present parent that I can possibly be, and
mhm,
just continually working on myself and Julius and I's relationship and really shifting out of the survival mindset and becoming, a person that is geared towards growth and support and not so much in fear of the world. I want to be able to go out into the world and be me, really me, not hidden under all these coping mechanisms and programs and reactions. Like, I just want to be able to be here and see what's here and create with what's here and create a world that is best for my children, your children, everybody's children, because every child deserves that.
I'm just taking that in because that's so deep and it's so touching. Yeah. And I know that, this isn't just talk. Like, we see people in our community actually doing these things and actually, so it's not just one of these pie in the sky kind of things, like as people talk, right? Oh, one day, someday. Um, with the support of everyone here, I think for sure this is going to be, your reality, right? And
yeah, I mean, you've got Jess in Minnesota, you got Katie in Texas, you got Keith and Maya in California, John Tran and Amelie. You got Giselle and Austin, you got Sam and Ashley, Jude and Sandra. We've got all of our friends up in Canada. Drake and Christine
and around the world.
Florida. You in Mexico. Like, again, like
Anya and Sebastian and Uruguay. Is that where they are? Paraguay.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. They're both side by side.
Yes.
No, the Paraguay. They're in Paraguay. Yeah. So
yeah, they just had a new baby. Like, there's endless support and endless resources that I know I can build, and I know that I have the support. I just need to reach out and get it. That's me. What can I do to change the world? Not what can the world change for me?
I don't know if people heard that. I really want them to catch that and go back and listen to that. What can I do for the world? Not what can the world do for me? Yeah, absolutely. Well, Eme, I want to ask you, if you were to go back to your 10-year-old self, what advice would you give her?
What advice would I give my 10-year-old self? 10-year-old me, that was 2011. People's opinions of you, including your families, don't mean that that's who you are. You are capable of change. And you do have a voice. And it's okay to show emotion. It's okay to have big emotions. it's okay to reach out. It's vital that you reach out. And when you meet a guy named Julius, just because he very quickly said hi to you and went to play basketball, that doesn't mean that he doesn't want to get to know you.
Mm. I love that. I think it's, yeah, I love that. It's so true. All of it.
Yeah, there's a lot that the world has to offer, but there's a lot that you have to offer to the world as well, you know? Even though you
Mm.
feel like you're 10 and you're so little, like, what can I do? There's a lot. I mean,
Mm.
we see it in our own community. Like, there's a 9-year-old who's designing his own outlets. Like, children have such potential. Children have such amazing things to show the world. And I'm honored to be able to be a parent to support my child in the same way.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Mm. I'm loving this. So thank you for sharing.
Of
And
course.
I know it's getting kind of late there for you. So um, before you go, is there anything last thing that you want to share? Any last word of advice that you want to share?
If you have any questions, reach out. The worst thing that can happen is somebody says no. And the word no doesn't mean that you failed, doesn't mean that you're a terrible person, or, you know, any of those things that you think about yourself when you feel like you failed. Like, failure, wait, hold on. Success is really just a bunch of failures that you learned from. Reach out if you have any questions. I'm always open to
Mm.
talk. I'm always home. Well, not always home, but I love talking and I love laughing with people. So, yeah, I'm here. We're here. We're alive. We're awake. And we are
Oh,
here
thank you.
to change the world.
Oh, yes, yes. One step at a time, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, thank you so much again, Emmy. I truly appreciate you staying up late for this and you know, being able to share so much tonight. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in person.